Hi everyone, my name is Ahmed El-Shaboury. I'm an associate financial advisor with CI Asante Wealth Management, and today I will be talking about old age security. It's a monthly taxable benefit that Canadian seniors can get from the Government of Canada if they meet the requirements. Unlike Canada Pension Plan, the monthly amount that you can get from old age security does not depend on your employment history, does not depend on any contributions that you made to any plan. The maximum amount that you can get is fixed by the Government of Canada, and it is the same for everyone. So what are the requirements in order to receive old age security from the government? The first one is to be a Canadian citizen or a legal resident of Canada when your old age security application is approved. The second one is you have to be 65 years old or older. And the third one is you have to have lived in Canada for more than or at least 10 years after age 18. Those are the requirements for those who apply for OAS while they are living in Canada. And this will be our focus today because there are some other requirements for those who apply for OAS while living outside Canada. If you lived in Canada for 40 years after age 18, then you would qualify to receive the maximum amount for old age security. This is $713.34 if you are between the ages of 65 to 74. If you are 75 years or older, then there's a 10% increase and the maximum amount becomes $784.67. So there's an automatic increase of 10% for 75 years and older. These amounts are for January to March 2024. So they are for 3 months only because the government adjusts the amount every quarter. So in January, April, July, October, the amounts are adjusted in order to reflect the increased cost of living as measured by the Consumer Price Index, CPI. Now, if you lived in Canada less than 40 years, but more than 10 years after age 18, then you will get a partial amount from old age security. How do you apply for old age security? The answer is you do not have to do anything. Normally, the government will send you a letter after you turn 64 telling you that you will be eligible to receive old age security payments when you turn 65. And if you are okay with that, then you do not have to do anything. Now, what if you don't get that letter for whatever the reason is? You turn 65, you don't get old age security, and now you're almost 66 and you remember that you haven't been receiving old age security payments. So what you do in this case is that you apply for old age security, and if you want, you can ask the government to pay you retroactively up to 11 months or when you turn 65, whichever is earlier. So when you apply retroactively, you can go for 11 months plus the month of application, so for a total of 12 months. So now you want to apply for old age security. You can use one of two methods. The first one is to mail the application. So you print it out, fill it out, and then you mail it and you wait for a response. Or you can use online method, which is by using My Service Canada account. You initially set up an account, your account with My Service Canada account, and then you apply online. My Service Canada account, you can set it up and then you can always log in using online banking information. So if you use your bank online, then you can use the same login information, the card number and the password. You will need a cell phone that is able to receive text messages because you will get a security code that you have to enter when you log in. And then once you set up the account with My Service Canada, then you're able to apply for old age security. You're also able to apply for Canada Pension Plan, employment insurance. You can do a whole lot of things there. And it's actually a very convenient and much faster, of course, than mailing the application. So now we will talk about two important features of old age security. The first one is the deferral, and the second one is clawback or recovery tax. The deferral is quite simple. The government gives you the option to defer receiving old age security payments past age 65 all the way up to age 70, so for up to 5 years. And the government gives you a deferral bonus for every month that you wait past age 65, and that bonus is 0.6% of the payment that you would have received at age 65. So if you wait for 5 years, or you wait all the way up to age 70, that's 60 months of waiting. So you multiply that by 0.6% for each month of waiting, then you get 36%. So the payment that you receive at age 70, if you wait for 5 years past age 65, will be 36% more than the payment that you would have received at age 65. Deferral gives you a higher payment. The recovery tax or the clawback means that if your taxable income in a certain year reaches a certain threshold and surpasses it, then you'll have to give back part of your old age security payment. For every dollar of your taxable income above that threshold, you will have to give 15% of that dollar, 0.15 of that dollar. Again, this is above the low threshold. If your taxable income in that year is such that it's actually high enough to reach another high threshold, then you'll have to give back all of your old age security payment. And you can see here in the bottom, this is the government website, you can see the low and the high thresholds for each tax year. So for example, when you are receiving payments during this time of the year, from July 2023 to June 2024, then the thresholds that we are talking about are for your 2022 taxable income. So if in that year, your income is higher than 81,761, then you will have to give back part of your old age security. And depending on your age, let's say that you are 74 or between 65 and 74, if your income, taxable income in 2022 reaches that level, then you will give back all of your old age security payment received during this 12 months, during these 12 months. And of course, if you are, age 75 or higher, the higher threshold is higher because, as we said, for age 75, there is an automatic increase of 10% for the monthly old age security payment. If we go down here, there's an example just to show you how the recovery tax is calculated. Again, this is for 2022 tax year. The low threshold is 81,761, assuming a taxable income of 96,000. The difference then between these two values is 14,239. You multiply that by 15% or 0.15, it gives you the amount of the recovery tax that you have to pay back to the government because your taxable income is above the low threshold. So we talked about the deferral and we talked about the recovery tax. And now there's a question. Do you start the payments at age 65 or do you defer the payments and use the deferral bonus past age 65? And that depends on the personal circumstances. So for example, if you are retired by age 65 and you need extra cash to help you with, with your lifestyle expenses, to pay the bills, then it makes sense to start the payment at age 65 and use the cash. If you have a short life expectancy, if you have a history of illness in your family, then it may make sense to start the payments at age 65, use the cash, and there's no point of deferring the payments then. On the other hand, if you are like many Canadians who work past age 65, then it may make sense to defer the payments past age 65 until you stop working, until you retire. And in this case, also you get that deferral bonus. Because if you start receiving old age security while you are working, then this is your salary, this is your employment income, and you add the old age security on top of that, then your old age security is taxed at a higher rate. That's one. And if your income is high enough to make that old age security make your taxable income reach the low threshold, then you will have to pay back part of the old age security. Even worse, if your income is high enough so that the old age security comes on the top and now you reach the higher threshold, then you give back all of the old age security. There is no point of actually receiving the old age security because all of it will be gone. One thing I want to mention here is that when we look at, or not we, like when the government looks at the thresholds, the low and the high thresholds, everything included in your taxable income, your salary, your Canada pension plan, and your old age security. So for example, in 2022, if your employment income was $80,000 and you decided to start your old age security, let's say at age 65, and your old age security, let's say just round it up at $8,000, so then your total taxable income becomes $88,000, and that is above the low threshold. So you'll have to pay back part of your old age security. Your old age security payments or benefit is part of your taxable income when it's tested against the low and the high thresholds. That's very important to know. There's another small planning tip is if you work past age 70 and you think that you have no choice but starting your old age security at age 70, there's a simple planning trick that you can do. For example, just to make things easier and to understand, let's say that you turn 70 in April 2024, but you are still working and you plan to retire end of 2024. So instead of applying for old age security to start at age 70, because you think that you cannot defer it past that, what you can do is you can delay the application until January 2025, and then you can apply for the old age security retroactively. So you can get back all those 8 months payments in January 2025. So this way, in 2024, you had an employment income, then that was it in terms of taxes. And then all your old age security that you would have received in 2024, now it's paid retroactively in 2025 when you retired and you don't have any employment income. Another planning tip for old age security is that you can actually stop receiving the old age security benefits after you started receiving them. So from the date you start receiving the first payment, the first monthly payment, you have up to 6 months to go back to the government or Service Canada and ask it to cancel your payments or stop receiving your payments. And from the date that your request is granted, you have another 6 months to pay back all the payments that you had received. So in total, you have 12 months, 6 months to cancel receiving the payments and 6 months to repay the payments that you received. And then when you apply for old age security after that, at a later date, you are applying as if you never received old age security, as if you had deferred the payments of the old age security. An example when this planning tip may be useful is, let's say that you retire, you turn 65 and you apply for old age security, and then a few months later, you realize that retirement is not as exciting, and you get a good job offer. So you go back to the working force, and now you have this employment salary, and you want to basically stop the old age security because it's taxed at higher rates, and you want to basically save more from it, and you want also to get a higher benefit if you defer it. So in brief, you don't need the old age security because you have enough cash coming from your job. So this is an example or a situation where it makes sense. So even after you receive the payments, you go back and ask to cancel the payments, but you have only 6 months in order to do that. So with that, I conclude the video, and I hope you find this video useful, and thank you very much for watching.